Hello and aloha pa to all my brother and sisters in all over the planets, to the Baha'is, to those who are seeking to know the truth and the meaning of the life. My name is Abbas Tamori. Time is 11:59, 12 o'clock. Today, 17th of May, 2011. God, I have to negotiate with myself, bring myself together to come and speak. It seems that's the only thing that keeps me going. A lot of distress is coming in the territory of where I am. Hopefully something will happen. Well, continuing the discussions, I said last time I'm going to be talking a bit about Sufism and mysticism. Sufism, that's really in Europe or in Christianity they call it mysticism, or today usually. I think I remember speaking about this issue that how the encounter of the religion of Islam with the Greek philosophers and the knowledge of the time that was coming from the culture of the Greek at that time actually did not break down Islam and did not act like a virus as it did in the case of Christianity. So the priests had to stop the progress of Greek or any knowledge. Basically they just closed it down. They found the Bible could not answer those things, but in Islam it worked differently. And but nevertheless it could not solve the problem. People came, they tried to translate those books, mostly by the help of Iranians at the time. I think a Jewish Iranian that did some of that translation for one of the caliphs, and they brought it into Arabic and to language of the time. But it's still Muslim, they did not understand the fabric of their faith. Just like in a Baha'i faith that consists of universal laws of guardianship and universal laws of justice, in Islam it's called velayat and caliphates, guardianship and caliphates. Guardianship, of course, it's the guardianship of the 12 Imam in Islam, and then it becomes a general guardianship that falls in the hand of the ordinary, knowledgeable Muslims. And caliphate would be the governors governing the land. They didn't understand this. As a result, they denied Imam Ali, the first guardian of the Islam. They killed him. They killed his son, the eldest son, and then ended up killing his second son, Imam Hussein. Arabs themselves did that. And it's all the result of that. And because in Quran clearly in few places says everything except from God, everything that God has made, or the whole world aside from God, this consists of pairs, it says. It goes azwajuha, it means two, a pair. They didn't understand this pair business, like electron and proton, or yin and yang in Chinese. It has to be everywhere if there is going to be a world of creations. Even in a government, if you don't have that, immediately you start, create a dictatorship. There's two sides. So the guardianship and caliphate turned into what? Shia and Sunni, which we have Shiites and Sunnis. Shiites mostly consist of Persians, some Arabs in Iraq too, and then the Sunnis, the rest of the Muslims. But really, even the Shiites, they could not solve the problem, because their last Imam was kept actually into a military base because they were thinking that his son is going to born and it is told, it's been written that his son will bring justice in the world and get rid of the bad regimes and whatnot. So they kept him there, but he did not have a son in one narrations, and the other record says that there was a son who died at an early age. So Muslim, they did not know what's happening about this 12th Imam. In Iran, Muslims are persisting right now. He's alive, well, somewhere in a basement somewhere, in a city somewhere around in Iraq. He's hiding there. And they say different cities, the cities that's not in the world. There's no city called Baha'ullah or Baha'ullah. Most of all the stories, they still persist on it. They say, no, he has to come. So they didn't accept the Baha'i faith. But the claim of the Bab was that he is the return of that Imam. They thought this matter is a physical issue, and it has to be physically alive, which is a record shows clearly that there is no physicality of him, but he's spiritually existing. And the lack of this problem also adds to it by the verse of Muhammad in the chapter 4, in I think chapter 40, in a surah called Al-Ahzab, means the parties. Well, in number 40, Muhammad says that he is Khatamun Nabiyyin, which means apparently, according to translation, the last of the prophets. And although he's Khatamun Nabiyyin, he's not Khatamun Rasulin. Khatamun Nabi means last of the Nabi, means minor prophets like Joseph and Elijah and whatnot. Like Daniel, you know, like Ezekiel. But it did not say that he's Khatamun Rasulin, means last of the major prophets, such as Jesus and Muhammad. Quran doesn't say he's the last one of those. But Muslims have taken this very clearly, that he's the last of the prophet. And the reality is that Muhammad says, I am the last of the Nabi, or prophet. He's indicating that between me and the next messenger of God, next religion of God, which is this 12th Imam, by the way, there is no other Nabis in between. And this is where the Islam changes from Christianity and from the Jews. In the case of the Jews, we know after Moses, or whoever, Joshua, I think, was in charge, and then he appointed somebody else, and it goes into their sons, you know, the eldest son. It goes on and on. So there was always clear who is the leader till Jesus comes. Was the case, I think, in Christianity too. It was the disciples, and even after that. But in Islam, Muhammad says, that's it, I'm the last one. There's nobody after me to add to the book of God. My successors are not called Nabi, they're called Imam, which means leader, a spiritual leader. Do not call them prophetesses. And then, therefore, the door is open, you know, who has to be, you know, the successors of Muhammad, since there is no other prophet after him. This caused a lot of havoc, because everybody then claimed. Many of them tried to save Islam, to say, hey, listen, this is me, this is me. But Muhammad clearly, Prophet Muhammad clearly talks about the knowledgeable people, serious, learned people in his cause, in his religion. He says the learned of my nations are much higher, greater than those of the minor prophets of the Israelites. He says that. But there was no authentic, you know, successorships that who has to continue this. So in this case, Shiite didn't have much of a problem because they accepted Ali as the successors, and they go on after the 11th one. They know who it is. You know, after Ali comes Hassan and Hussein, and then Ali the second, and then Muhammad, and so on. But Sunnis did have problem, because after Muhammad didn't know who, there it comes many, they call them mufti, meaning the person who decrees what to do. Doctors of the faith, you may say. So we have, you know, Maliki, Hanbali. There's 4 of them really, can't remember all of them. So these guys, they started to become mufti by decreeing what should be done in the cases where there is no answer. But Shia didn't have this problem until 260 years. They knew who it is. But Sunnis, they had to create their own. So we have, Imam Hanafi and Imam Malik and Imam Shafi'i and so on. So in the beginning centuries, after the Islam, basically 260 years it took for the Islam of the Shiites version to be finished, we are dealing with serious scientists, such as Avicenna, Abu Rehan Biruni, I don't know what you call it in English, Farabi, and Razi, who was the discoverer of alcohol. Actually, the word alcohol, which is an Arabic word. The actual word is kuhul, and alcohol means the kuhul. Al means the kuhul. So from alcohol you get alcohol. This is Razi who did that. And they were very much entangled and mingled with the Greek philosophies. They called them hypothetic, I think, or masha'in, the original word. That they were understanding who Plato and Aristotle and whatnot was, but they were not